microphone and the background music, and now they can also hear you guys. Right, hello guys, it's Glurmit here, and I am with Arctic Gears, who's in the top left in this screen. Do you want to say hello?
Hey guys, how's it going?
And then I'm also with MDA, who is in the top right.
What's up, everyone?
Yeah. Also, sorry about the screen just now. I was just reorganizing the banners because I thought we'd all look cool with our little banners
nice.
around our face cams there. Right, so today's topic, we're going to be talking all about 3 versus 3. We're going to be going through Omicron's strategies, you name it, we'll cover it. So if you have anything in the comments you want us to go over, let us know. And we'll start off with probably I would guess, say, the hardest question of the day. What does everyone think of 3v3?
Well, yeah, I'll kick us off. So yeah, I definitely think I like 3v3.
Yep.
It gives me more of a chance to really flex out my roster, where I think you have a lot of under-geared characters that maybe you don't get a lot of use out of. It's a really good time for me to actually be able to really utilize the whole roster. Teams that are really hard in 5v5 are not always hard in 3v3. And then sometimes you have teams, and we'll discuss some of those that you think, oh yeah, like nobody's worried about Newt lead with Droidica until you go to 3v3, and it's like, yeah, this counter's going to be really bad, and I'm not really going to enjoy this. This is going to suck. And so I look forward to seeing what we can kind of overcome here.
Before we carry on with MDA, Kanji, I see you're in the chat. Can you just give us just a notification that the audio is working fine? Because obviously we've got the audio set up differently today. Anyways, sorry to interrupt. MDA, what do you think about 3 versus 3?
I'm a fan of 3v3. Like Arctic said, I like using different parts of my roster. You get to use leads that you don't normally really use, and some of these leads are good leads. They just are. There's just better ones in 5v5, and 5v5 is pretty much most of the game mode, so it's nice being able to do things differently in 3v3. There's different synergies that come up just because the game mode is smaller. There's different interactions that are just more important, like taunts, the ability to ignore taunt, or certain debuffs are going to matter more just because there's so many less turns, and these things kind of matter more. So it gets interesting, and it's also going to be interesting to see some of these Omicrons that everyone has been putting in like crazy. I mean, we'll touch on it later, but the one I'll put up first is like Zam. Yeah. Zam's Omicron is not going to be as good in 3v3. In fact, I would actually say I don't think it has a lot of use in 3v3, whereas something else might be more valuable. So it's going to be interesting just to see the change of pace. So, but yeah, no, I'm a fan of 3v3.
No, I think you made a really good point there. And you both know what's coming, because you said about teams. Both of you have commented on that. And for anyone watching, the best team that I'll stand by every single time is Rex Lead with 5s and Zeta Barris. Now, you would never use that anywhere else in the game. I'm telling you now, you wouldn't use that anywhere else. Not to a consistent level. But you go in 3 versus 3, you slap that down, you're going to get holds for days. Like, high-end Kyber, low-end Erodium, whatever league you're in, that team is nasty. Like, this is the thing with 3v3. Like, it's not traditional in the sense that with 5v5, the whole game is always 5v5, with the exception of the Tuscan event today, which was 3v3. That was quite interesting. Yeah. But because we're so used to 5v5, we just don't really ever experience with lower teams. So, like, I'll get us into the next segment, which is actually going to be all about how we build teams for 3v3, but I'll get us started here. So, like, the thing I go with in 3v3 is I like having sort of pairs that go well together. So, for example, I find Echo and Arc are a good pair. I find that 5s and Rex are a good pair. Chewie and Han are a good pair. And once you find some good pairs, then you can kind of select a leader who will slot into that team to make them good. And the interesting thing with 3v3, you kind of have to think outside the box, because it's not standard synergy. You're not going to have just Galactic Republic. You're not going to have just Jedi. You're not going to have, all these different lineups. like, you know, Han and Chewie can go in almost any lineup, and you can find something interesting. So that gets me on to the next segment. What do you both do for your planning? Like, do you have any tips and tricks you could let the viewers know?
Well, MDA kicked this one off. I started the last one.
Sure. I think, like you said, you have to think outside the box, just because a lot of these things of how the game kind of operates aren't going to work as well. So anything that takes or that benefits from having multiple team members. So I think a popular team in 5v5 is, General Skywalker, the 501st. When he's surrounded by all 501st, he's getting a ton of benefits. But since he's only going to have 2 other 501st members, he's not gaining as many stats as he would be in 5v5.
Yeah.
Or, if you threw 5s with General Skywalker and 5 sacrifices, he's only sacrificing to 1 clone. He's not sacrificing to 3 other clones. So it makes it a little bit more interesting on how you split these teams up. I would say one of the things with 3v3 you're going to benefit from is upgrading, not skipping some of these more niche characters, or you're gonna benefit from having a deeper roster, just because a character like Wedge, Wedge lead with Han and Chewie is a really good team. If you're looking at the Resistance, Finn lead, other people saying, well, in 5v5, if I went for, like, let's just say you went for Rey as your GL, well, I'm gonna run Rey Jedi training, or I'm gonna run GL Rey, and there's no other reason to get Zeta Finn lead. Well, in comes 3v3, where the more leaders that you have, the better, just because it opens you up with more possibilities. And all of a sudden, Finn lead's important, or something like HK lead. All of a sudden, when you're getting turn meter on a crit like that, it becomes a bit more important. So it's hard, because GLs get spicier when you with these new pairs and different interactions, and GLs are harder in 3v3 just because they're already overpowered. So I'm curious to see. It's been a couple months since we've done 3v3, so this first round of GAC is going to be basically all bets are off, because we like the data that we had from last GAC or the last 3v3 is just so outdated. So at this point, I'm just going to be constantly changing my defenses and just seeing what works.
I think that's the way to go. Do you have anything to add, Arctic?
Absolutely. MDA had made amazing points, and one thing that I thought about was, especially for newer players, right? When you start going for those first GLs, who do you go for? Do you go for SLKR? Do you go for Rey? Do you go for C? That's going to open up those possibilities. So for me, I went for C first, and so I built on extra troopers like Dart Trooper and Gideon. And after Gideon kind of got that rework, I was like, do I throw Gideon in a leadership? I'm looking at my roster, and all of a sudden characters I'm like, I would never throw that Zeta on. All of a sudden it's like, okay, I had a farm up Director Krennic. Do I throw on this Omicron? Do I throw on this Zeta? Just so I can stay competitive, because as he mentioned, if your opponent has more GLs, you need more counters. And GLs are near impossible to counter without another GL in 3v3.
Absolutely.
It's doable, but the information's so dated. What does it look like? And I think it's just so important to fill out teams on the roster. And I think moving forward, knowing that 3v3 is going to be so big, the first thing I thought of with Malgus coming to the game is, well, my Sith Assassin probably needs to be brought up so I can have another Sith Empire ready to go. You know what I mean? And so characters that you would think they just go by the wayside, now all of a sudden I'm like, well, can I utilize that shift? Is the priority shifted a little bit more? Because I need those characters, even if they're a little under geared, I need those teams to be filled out completely.
Absolutely. I think you made a really good point about which GL you went for first. Because 5v5, there's an argument that going for SLKR, for example, is not the best anymore. In terms of GAC, I'm sure you would both agree that the teams you get aren't necessarily the best. Now, you go into 3v3 instead of 5v5. I can tell you now, Phasma is a good 3v3 team. Phasma were both the TIE fighters. TIE fighter pilots. And then you also get crew. You get 2 good teams, so that it changes it completely. That's kind of what I see in terms of GL farming. Like, I don't know, it's really tough. Like, I'm sitting here thinking, because I've been planning for my GAC this week. As you both know, I'm probably going to be up against all the GLs as per usual. So I've been really planning, because I don't really want to go into this GAC with just my GLs and offense. I think that would be, one, very boring for everyone watching, and two, it feels a little bit cheap if you win with all your GLs. So I've been really thinking, like, what can you use? Like, JMK Cat, for example. In 5v5, we've got Bounty Hunters, which can take down Commander Ahsoka, right? And then you can then branch off into Gas. So that's a non-GL counter. And then if we're doing GL, you do have JML. But doing 3v3 just changes it completely. I'm kind of really nervous. So, 3v3 is really fun, and I can understand why people are a little put off by it. I don't know how to word this, but I just think 3v3 takes a little bit of extra thinking power for people. It's not as simple as, oh, I'll just slap this team down. You really have to think about what you're doing. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not looking forward to facing GLs. I don't know how you guys are feeling about that.
Well, I think I'll touch on your first comment first, though. Like, as far as people not being comfortable, the way the game is structured, though, I mean, everything is tailored to 5v5. Your squad arena, when you're climbing, is 5v5. For the most part, your galactic challenges, your assault battles, everything that I build in my team, I build intentional for those game modes.
Absolutely.
And then 3v3 comes around, and you're like, what does Wedge Lee do again? Why is it a big deal that he's with Han and Chewie? I mean, I have to reread these kits over and over to make sure before I go in, I'm not about to get like lit up. And I'm just, I'm hesitant sometimes for what should be an easy counter. I almost over prepare for, if that makes sense. You're so afraid that you could lose that you bring in a team that's far more valuable than you should have.
Yeah.
And then to kind of really touch on your second point with GLs, playing, in the lower, I guess Kyber 5, Kyber 4, Rhodium 1, kind of right in that ballpark.
Yeah.
The GL counter game is very real. So if you don't have all the toys, or your opponent has one more GL than you, if they throw 2 GLs on defense, you better have a strong defense and response if you can't get through it. And then, it's kind of like going back to that point a minute ago. I've been spending a lot of time on fleets. Do I try to go for the top zone? Are they going to ice me in the top zone? There's so many variables, and you got to be really careful to scout every opponent thoroughly to make sure you clear.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of just zoned out a little bit. I was busy reading on SWGOH. I was familiarizing myself with some of the Omicrons, and I just zoned out a little bit.
That's so good.
So you're talking about 3v3, and so I'm kind of Arctic. I'm right with you in the same boat. Like, so I know you were in Kyber. I know you said before you just got bumped down.
Yeah, right as the season ended, that was a great time to get knocked out of Kyber right back into a Rhodium. So hopefully the matchmaking will be kinder to me, and I will find people with less than 4 GLs on average, being my account's not quite there yet.
So for me, I am Kyber. I'm about like mid Kyber 3. I'm 5.5 mil, and I only have 1 GL. So pretty much the norm is just most of my rounds. I'm lucky if there's people in the 6 mil range, but it's mostly like 7.5 and above, and everyone has at least 2 GLs with Executor as well. So it's one of those things that, especially with 3v3, we're going to start seeing some weird compositions. Like, it's going to be SOKR with Daka and Zombie. It's going to be Rey with Han and Chewie. It's going to be Luke with some Cancer Jedi next to him. And it's, like I said before, it's going to be hard to know what to expect. And also the fact that we've got characters like Starkiller, too, that are really going to kind of throw a wrench in everything, and especially since they reworked his kit so that he can work with any Force user. Just, as long as he meets one of those, the 2 conditions, then that becomes a thing. So,
wow.
I forgot all about Starkiller.
Yeah.
Well, they've recently updated Moff Gideon's kit, and they've updated Starkiller's kit. And I was looking, because you mentioned this earlier, Arctic, I was actually looking at Moff Gideon as well. Moff Gideon's kit if I don't have it up on the screen, so I'm sure if MDA's got it open, they can correct me. But as far as I'm aware, they need one support in the lineup. That has to be Gideon. You're then allowed one tank and one attacker, or something like that, and that's what qualifies you for the league.
I have his kit pulled up here. If you
have
read it.
Yeah, if you can read it out, that's easier than we just.
So here we go. In 3v3 Grand Arenas, if all allies are Imperial Troopers and Moff Gideon has any combination where the team includes no more than one tank, two attackers, and or an additional support ally, the conditions of this ability will be met. So basically, how I'm reading that is it's Moff Gideon with two attackers, or it's Moff Gideon with a tank and supports. I think that's the two ways to do it.
Yeah, so what I'm thinking of doing, because Imperial Troopers are quite... They're known for being harder to break up. So what I'm thinking is Moff Gideon lead, Dark Trooper, Stormtrooper. That's kind of what I'm thinking as one of the teams, potentially.
That's not bad.
But I don't know what you guys think, because I was trying to think, because Imperial Troopers... Arctic, I know you have them built up. MDA, I know you're working on them at some point. But once you've got all of them, you've now got Iden lead, so you need to save 2 additional there. You got Veers, you need to save another 2. And I think Gideon's the next best lead. Now, for me, sorry to interrupt there, Arctic. I was going to say, spoiler alert for those watching, I did do Krennic Omicron for this GAC. So then I have to take an additional 2 Imperial Troopers for that team, because I'm using Death Trooper and Shore Trooper. So, I don't know, the split's really difficult. Do I go Dark Trooper with Gideon? Do I go Dark Trooper with Veers? Like, what would you two do in that sort of situation?
Well, first I want to ask, what are you going to do with Piet? Are you going to keep Piet with Troopers, or do you try to bundle him up with Vader? And because remember, you're in 3v3, so Piet going away, that could make Vader much more lethal. I mean, is that something? Because there's a part of me that wants to go Veers, Piet, Dark Trooper, and there's a part of me that says, well, it's 3v3, take the, you have enough troopers to spread, why not go ahead and pass off Piet?
Yeah. I guess that could work. What, Lord Vader, Piet, Royal Guard, something like that. That'd be quite interesting.
Either Lord Vader, or remember, because Piet works so well with Darth Vader as well.
True.
They get a lot of buffs there.
Yeah,
so, I mean, I'm thinking, too, if your roster's just a little bit lower, that's a great plug-in.
Yeah, of course.
But even at Kyber, I think that could work really well. MDA, you might know a little bit more on that with me, 'cause especially with all those executors, you're probably having to run into some bunch of Piets that you're about to be seeing. So
I'm looking at the troopers right here, and I'm also taking Krennic into mind. So this is just off the top of my head what I'm looking at. So I'm looking at Moff Gideon lead first. Because his stuff is really cool. You have whenever an enemy with the leader tag uses an ability, you're gaining 10% offense stacking. Whenever someone with the leader tag takes a turn, he gains the stack of insight. And then troopers have an additional plus 25% offense, and they revive the first time they're defeated. Yeah. So that's all cool stuff. So I think with Gideon, you either have to go 2 attackers, or you have to go a support and a tank. It's hard because I think with Gideon, I'm thinking Gideon, Dark Trooper, and Magma Trooper. Just because Magma Trooper is going to give you the constant turn meter gains, he's pulling back turn meter, and the offense that's going to be stacking on Dark Trooper is just too nice not to do.
What about Snow Trooper though? Turning back that turn meter.
So I'm thinking then you do Veers lead with Stark, and then with Snow Trooper, and just fully embrace turn meter. Roll with that. I'm not really sure what to do with Piet. I'm kind of just looking at him. Iden, I think you go Iden, Range Trooper, and I think possibly Stormtrooper. I'm not really sure, because the one pair that I want to keep is Krennic and Death Trooper. I think if you have the Krennic Omicron, that's going to be really, really nice. And part of me was wanting to put Shore Trooper with them, but I actually think that might be overkill. And especially since Krennic doesn't necessarily need troopers, he's just Empire. I was thinking you throw TIE Fighter Pilot.
Interesting.
TIE Fighter pilot is fast. He's base 190 speed.
Yep.
And at the end of each of his turns, for each debuff enemy, he gains 10% turn meter, so that'd be 30% turn meter, and has a 35% chance to gain foresight, so he's going to be getting some foresight, he's going to be gaining some turn meter. Under Krennic lead, you're gaining the crit chance and the potency, and TIE Fighter pilot has tenacity down on his basic as long as he crits, so that's nice. Debuffed enemies who are critically hit during Empire allies' turns suffer ability block for 1 turn, can't be resisted, and Empire allies recover 10% protection. I think the idea is because with Death Trooper Zeta, you gain turn meter whenever Krennic is damaged or he has the % chance. And I think with the tank, it's just not going to happen. So I'm thinking you get spicy and you throw TIE Fighter pilot, and that frees up Shore Trooper to go with Iden, to go with Veers, to go with Lord Vader. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to base off a matchup thing, but
yeah,
I don't know. Lot of options.
I do think that. Sorry, you can talk, Arctic. My bad.
Oh, no. I was just going to bring up a point. I remember we talked about a video that was kind of going viral where Iden was even able to counter gas at one point.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if I revisit that and see if there's a way to make that work in 3v3, because I'm all about budget-friendly, high-end counters. You know what I mean? And Iden's the most expensive person, but if I could bring in something like Magma Trooper and use that to counter gas, I'm saving that for offense. Because that gas wall, while it is weaker, I have to remember my team's going to be weaker as well. So that's just a thought.
We have a fan of 3v3 in the chat.
Nice.
Somebody commented saying they enjoy it more than 5v5 and they have a better record. So that's always nice to hear.
Interesting.
It is interesting. I find with 3v3, now the question is it because people don't try? Which you have to admit there are people that are gonna, say they're not bothering. Or is it just because 3v3, I don't know, it's difficult because I have a better record in 3v3 than I do in 5v5. And I would say quite a few people do. The question is that because people aren't trying or not? I don't know. It's a bit of an odd one to me.
I mean, it's a different meta.
Yeah,
I think that's something you got to consider too. It's no longer just the, outside of the GLs, of course, because that's its own thing. Yeah. But it's like what we just talked about with all these different leads. I mean, we don't know what the strength is right now, so I think that's the big shakeup for me. Is, I mean, outside of 3v3, I haven't seen a wedge lead in 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Dash Rendar looks like in 3v3, and that scares me because I'm like, what if he's paired with Han and Chewie and I can't get around the guard? What am I gonna do? Like,
that would be
how do I break that?
Yeah.
And so things like that are like, if somebody's been much more prepared for this than I am, that's where I get nervous. And so that's the things I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
What are the teams that are my biggest obstacles, and how do I jump that?
I think for me, the thing I'm kind of both excited and scared about in a way is this is the first 3v3 with Omicrons.
Oh, yeah.
And that, like we were talking earlier about GL counters. Now, we don't know anything yet, but maybe some of these Omicrons for the 3v3 may work to some extent for GLs. Maybe not for like a full strength team, but if someone tries to do a weaker one. For example, Sith Eternal is a common 3v3 defense, because in 3v3, Sith Eternal is traditionally quite good.
Right.
However, Wampa's going to kill that. If you don't put Malak with Wampa, with Sith Eternal, Wampa will kill that. So right there, that's Omicrons coming out on top. And again, 3v3 is very, very different to 5v5. In 5v5, you can spare Malak and put him with Sith Eternal. I'm sure MDA will agree with that. That's quite a good idea sometimes.
I am a fan of Malak with Sith Eternal.
Yeah. But in 3v3, I think it was normal Maul, Malak, and Darth Revan, or even Malak in like a Palpatine team, but he makes those teams very, very strong. So do you really want to move him into a Sith Eternal lineup just to counter a Wampa solo, for example, is what I'm trying to get at. And then we have the Krennic Omicron. We don't know what that's going to do yet. We have the Tusken Omicron. That's not. I doubt that's getting anything good, but I'll be trying it out anyways.
Actually, I saw something. I was reading it. There's, I think, some reason to believe that someone was saying that Tusken Omicron could possibly time out a JMK Cat team, or if you like possibly on offense, or so if you take this in, because if your team can't ignore taunts, or if you can't prevent revives, the team's going to be maybe not JMK Cat, but like if you take it, I think Tuscans can be a really solid team on defense when you're looking at it. Just because it's going to be a 4 versus 3 team, because they have that, it has the summon, and then 2, because they're going to be gaining turn meter when people are dying, and their damage is going to sneak up on you. I think Tuscans shouldn't be something that we sleep on.
Well,
I'm Glurman. I'm excited to see the videos when you get them out.
I am so excited. Also, we had another comment in the chat. They have said 3v3 brings forward other counters, like solos. For example, Gas, Malik, and other characters there, which makes 3v3 easier. Again, we were just talking just now, Malik is the king of 3v3. You know, he's soloing so many teams.
Do you know who I think has slipped through the cracks so many times? And it's a fan favorite, is Ahsoka Tana Fulcrum. I remember when Urs was big streaming, I've watched Ahsoka Fulcrum go off on themes, and I've seen a lot of people, even in other chats and stuff, who have really high relic Fulcrums, and that's somebody I never think about putting a defense out to stop. But I just thought about it. My last GAC, I went up against a R7 Fulcrum with the Akbar Omicron, and I'm like,
oh wow,
that's going to be something I have to think about now. You know what I mean? Like, I never thought about it, but Leia Fulcrum with Akbar, and if there's Omicrons on that team, like, okay, what does that look like on defense? That turn meter's going to be there. I can't slow her down. Can she one-shot who I bring? You know, like, the critic idea sounds great, and then I'm like, can they one-shot that? Like, those are something you got to think about too. Like, there's, like you said, more solo potential is there, and then you have characters who sit on the bench for so many of us that, you know, there's a fan favorite for somebody else who's just, they're gonna show up. Even
Dooku in 3v3. Dooku's another character.
Especially if you have C, or if you got Lord Vader's, you have at least an R6 Dooku. If not, you have an R8 Dooku.
Yeah.
And his damage gets sneaky high. Like, once you get to this high relics, like, his damage is high. And he has, like, you know, you throw some, his lead grants him the extra tenacity, and you throw some additional tenacity on him, and his potency's already pretty high, so he's going to be landing all that stuff. Dooku's a good one for 3v3.
You could get stun locked. Oh my gosh.
Oh, the stun locks are frustrating. Man, I'm gonna be honest. I'm just really hyped for this 3v3. I really am. Like, I know I've already said it a couple of times already this stream, so sorry for going on, guys, but man, I'm just hyped, and just us talking about it right now, you know, for me, the thing that I love about GAC is the theory crafting, coming up with things that work that don't normally work, or coming up with new counters to characters. 3v3 is so good for that. Right, what was the next segment we was going to go on to? Oh yes, I remember. Sorry, I had to check my notes on the side there. Apologies for that. Right, so we was talking about breaking up Imperial Troopers. There was another team that I wanted us to discuss, because I think that it's going to apply to a lot of people at the moment. That's Bad Batch. And Arctic, you have the best Bad Batch out of all of us, so you would be a good guy to start this off.
I've actually contemplated if I want Shock T to take some of my clones. That's been right now my first bet. That being said, it's like, so you could either keep, say, Hunter, Tech, and Echo, or do I break up some of that? Because Omega's not a clone trooper. She can't work with Shock T. So that takes that.
She's a clone trooper. She has a clone trooper tag.
Oh, she is a clone trooper. Well, yeah. That's right, she is a clone trooper. She's not a Galactic Republic, that's what it is. Okay, so I have to rethink about that. She could work, but I don't think she's going to put out the damage. I'd rather have 5-0 first with it. I think, though, that Shock T put in with somebody like feeding that cleanse, feeding that turn meter to, say, somebody like Echo or Tech, whether I kind of want to keep one or the other and put Wrecker in there, just for team survivability. And maybe do something like Hunter, the other one in Omega. But like you said, it's about working with those pairs, and I haven't quite figured out which pair is going to be more useful, because I think I'm going to put them on defense.
Interesting.
I just don't know that I can see getting the same utility as I can in a 5v5.
Yeah.
I think they're still useful. I think Wrecker at high relics, I've got mine at R6. I want him to go to R7. he's going to get a hold, I believe, if somebody tries to sneak in the team.
Yeah.
And I think putting in that shock T with somebody like Wrecker is really going to make it difficult to get around him, if nothing else, to prevent a timeout. And like I said, that just comes down to what does my opponent have versus what am I willing to take into battle. Because I just don't think I can punch up that high with the Bad Batch without splitting them into one team being unusable.
So I got an idea here for clones with splitting up this team and all that.
Okay.
This is just gonna hit me here. So I think when I'm looking at this, unfortunately, I think Omega gets the shaft here. Pause.
Yeah.
Just because she is solely meant to be with Bad Batch, and I don't think I can justify her being in 3v3. I think she's just better with 5v5, and I think she's just gonna be one of those characters that's just not good in 5v5, or I'm sorry, 3v3.
Yeah.
I think the obvious team or the most used team is Hunter, Echo, Tech, and it's hard to go wrong with that. I think that's just a pretty solid team. Wrecker, though, and especially at high relics, Wrecker is just so good, and he definitely benefits from being like with Bad Batch because he's going to get more health and protection. But I got a sneaky team here.
Okay.
Cody lead, Clone Sergeant, and Wrecker.
Ooh.
Because Cody lead, and if you have the Zeta, so clone allies gain 30% crit chance. That's great. And then Cody gains 60% defense for each living clone ally, and other clone allies gain half that amount. So 60% for each living clone. That's 180. Wrecker and the other ones would be gaining 90% defense. Yeah. Which, especially for a tank like Wrecker, that's a lot. And then clones recover 5% of their max protection whenever they use a basic. Which, especially if you have, the 212th attack, he's calling all the assist, and then Clone Sergeant's getting a ton of turn meter on his basic. I think this team could be. I think that's the one thing that was missing, was that you needed a tank or you needed something like that. Yeah. And I think Wrecker, especially because he gives the protection recovery on his first special. He has the stun when he gets furious, but this is where I think it's going to become interesting, because he's not going to open with that opening stun, but I think that's going to be something that that comes later in the fight. So I think that could be an interesting team. I don't know. We'll see amongst top teams or for people who have these characters if this gets tried. But I'm curious to see if that's one thing that will come up.
Do you think, rather than going with Cody, do you think switching Wrecker with Padme and then say taking GK and maybe JKA and putting that with Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron? Do you think that could be open up possibilities? Because I feel like Qui-Gon's Omicron's going to be nerfed a little, but at the same time, I'm like, he still just needs Jake. He just needs Anakin. You know what I mean?
Qui-Gon Omicron is still S tier. That is still. Qui-Gon and Anakin is still going to be a pair there. I think it's going to be Qui-Gon and Anakin, Qui-Gon Anakin Cam, or Qui-Gon Anakin GK, and
that would free up GK. If I freed up GK and slot in Wrecker with Padme, I think that's possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am a big fan of that Cody team. I'm going to try that out. I'm going to try that out.
I don't have Cody ready, so I have to look for an alternative.
Do you think that's a defense or offense team?
I think it could be either, because you have the protection recovery, and also Cody and Clone Sergeant can get decent turn meter. So I think that could be an offensive team, but I think that's like a sneaky back wall defensive team.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
That's a nice team. And then, do you know what? I just wanted to touch on this. We was talking a while ago. I think Arctic brought it up. In fact, I think MDA might have talked about it as well, but you was both talking about random characters that don't normally get used. There are loads of them for 3v3. Now, I'm going to get them confused. There's two of the Night Sisters. There's Initiate and Acolyte. It's the one that stealths. Which is...
Acolyte.
I think it's Acolyte too, yeah.
One of the two of them, yeah. That character is so annoying in 3v3. You do, say, Ventress lead, and you chuck in anyone, Night Sister Spirit. Doesn't matter who, and you just put the... Oh, sorry, my bad. You do Ventress, Zombie, and then the one who stealths. And the one who stealths will stay stealth the entire game. Doesn't matter if they're low gear. And I can tell you now, that's a frustrating team. That is a frustrating team.
If you don't have AoEs, or if you don't have a buff dispel, it becomes next to impossible to kill, just because Zombie doesn't die, and if you don't kill Asajj in time, you'll just keep ramping Asajj's her damage.
her leadership in 3v3 is probably the dead. Like that's her leadership scares me more than the other two between Daka and Towson in 3v3, just for stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, so many people will have a good Ventress because of the gas event.
Mm-hmm.
This is the other thing. It's similar to like if you've done the gas event and you've got Magma Guard and you've also got B1, B2 worked on. You don't necessarily have a Grievous. Newt with the droids is really good. I mean, even throwing the droids in with like GBA or Poggle lead in 3v3 is fantastic. You know, what we're trying to get at here, guys, is just think outside the box. You know, there's so much you can do. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, while you're on Separatist, don't forget that Django can slot into a Separatist lineup really well. And Django giving that speed buff, if you want to run him as the lead, if I can't remember if his applies to Separatists, but I know a lot of times you'll see him with Scoundrels, or you'll see him with a Dooku lead. Oh man, that is not fun. And with Droideka, especially getting that speed, I know a lot of people are using Droideka now for Maul, but if you don't have Maul yet, man, those Droideka and just Django are so mean.
Absolutely.
That faction as a whole, because Grievous isn't as good in 3v3. So, but you would find the rest of the Separatists are, to me.
Yeah.
They're so versatile.
I would actually argue, and this comes on to the next topic I was going to bring up for us to discuss. What is your, like, go-to faction? So I'm not talking about individual teams, I'm talking about a faction as a whole. Which one would you label as the king of 3v3 faction-wise?
That's tough.
It's tough for you to say that. Yeah. I'll give you guys a couple of seconds to think this through, because there's so much to decide from. I can go first if neither of you can.
Yeah.
All right.
I've got a few, but I'm like,
all right,
I feel like they're all bad answers.
No, it's fine. So, now you guys have told me to do it, and now I'm struggling to come up with one. No, for me, it has to be Separatists. That's kind of where I was going from before. I personally think Separatists are the best 3v3 faction. You get a droid team, you get a Geo team which you can split up. I prefer to do Poggle droids. Then I do another team which will be like Dooku, Django, for example. Then you can do another team which would have the leftover Geos, GBA. You can even go a bit crazy and do Newt, Newt lead, throw in like Sunfac and Spy, Sunfac Spy, Sunfac Soldier, and you can throw GBA in another team. Like, you just have so many options. Like, I would say the S tier teams for me are, like, in 3v3, the absolute S tier team from Separatists is Poggle droids. That team's scary. Like, guys, if you haven't tried that team, try it out.
Yeah.
Now, that leads me on to you guys. Have you guys thought of one yet?
So I've got an unpopular opinion, probably, but it's for an interesting reason, and this is why I'm going to pick them for 3v3. It's Empire. Ooh. And the reason is you can get all of a sudden things like Thrawn lead become relevant again.
Yes, yeah.
Grand Moff Tarkin lead, I've used that plenty of times. And it's not just the Vader Palpatine. Now I have Mara Jade, who's really good, and that can stretch the roster out. And I'm going to cheat a little bit because Imperial Troopers are in the Empire faction a little bit, so I'm just going to say, when I have to cut that team up, sometimes they have to go with them. Like you said with Death Trooper to Krennic, I'm actually interested about this Omicron this time around. I'm going to try that in a few more scenarios that I probably would have been like, this team would never work, but now I know that looking at my roster, I'm like, I'm going to need somebody to step up, and I'm going to hope that he can do it. But yeah, for me, it's about the Empire. I think you have the Royal Guard is so much better than he used to be before 3v3 was around last time. And I mean, really, they have and the Inquisitors, now that they're up and coming, like I've seen a lot of people who maybe have like a low geared Ninth Sister. I'm curious if at low gears she can make some of these other leads work. So we'll just have to see. I think I'm going to stay more generalized Empire, but they give me kind of like what the Inquisitors are. I can carve separate teams out that maybe I normally couldn't.
Yeah, of course. All right.
Piggybacking on your Empire team, I know a really nice team that is used a lot is the Thrawn lead with Moff Gideon and Stormtrooper can take down a lot of teams.
Yeah.
But I think so. I was tied between two factions, but I think for me, it's got to be Jedi.
Yeah.
There is so many even like GMY lead. That's something that in 3v3 is not something to mess around with. Gaining 30% turn meter, crit chance up, and crit damage up when resisting a debuff. That can get, especially Yoda's immune to shock. It gets a little spicy. Or especially with Mace. Now that Mace is actually good, Mace gets interesting.
Yeah, that's scary.
Jedi Knight Luke lead in 3v3 is no joke. So there's a lot of different, especially now with now that we have two. I mean JMK is more Galactic Republic, but I think for me Jedi are always my go-to.
Yeah.
I know one of the teams that I used back in the day was GMY lead, Kanan, and Ezra. Ezra can boost turn meter on GMY. Whenever you resist debuffs, you're gaining turn meter, and then Kanan, if he suffers debuffs, he's gaining his health back. I have all their Zetas, so Kanan's TM gaining is just crazy. You can throw that on defense, you can take it on offense, and especially I think now that more people have Kiadi Mundi, Cam does a lot in 3v3.
Cam is a good character. I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of gutted, MDA, that you're gonna get 7-star Cam before I do. That upsets me.
I'm gonna get Cam before you will.
I was on probably about 7 months ago. I was 5 shards from unlocking him, and now I'm like 15 shards after unlocking him because my guild's only just started doing the Cam mission. That's tragic because I would love. I mean, this Cam's a topic for a completely different talk show. Let's be fair. There's so much to go into detail about that character. He's fantastic in raids, GAC, everything. But I mean, with Qui-Gon Omicron, maybe it's a bit different. But outside of that, sadly, he just doesn't have the use outside of relics. And talking about Cam, we are 46 minutes into the stream already. So I was going to ask, are you guys alright for me to do my Cam run now, live on the stream, and see if that goes well? Or do you want to carry on talking about some 3v3?
Go ahead. You're feeling it.
Let's do the Cam run here.
Let me just... the stream's going to go on. Be right back, because I'm just switching screens.
For those of you who don't have Wampa Omicron, do yourself a favor and go get Wampa Omicron. Wampa's going to be a staple in 5v5, 3v3, doesn't matter. I would argue that's one of the best upgrades you can get in the game is Wampa Omicron. I know Glurmit, you got it.
Oh yeah.
And you've I don't think he's ever let you down.
Once off stream, I took him in against. I was in a rush. I think it was last week. I was in a rush, and I went in against a Relic 7 Khal Khatan. I wasn't thinking, and he just one-shotted by Wampa. It was tragic. I shouldn't have done it. It was a mistake on my part, but that's the only time he's let me down. Alright, let me just let you guys... Unfortunately, I can't get your face cams to show up on here as well. But
that's fun.
You guys should be able to follow the stream through Discord here. Let me know if you can see my game here. I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm a little bit... I mean, I've done this mission... MDA can back me up here. I've done this mission so many times. Yet, I'm nervous because I'm doing it live on stream. So we're going to hope it goes well. I'm going to try
Just don't drop it like I did. You'll be alright.
Well, let's hope. But for those of you watching... I'm going to try my best to explain in detail every step I take. And MDA, you're doing camp for the first time this month, correct?
Yes, I am. I have some supercharged clones that are ready.
That's always fun. I forgot I've got to do bear with me one moment. I've got... Yep, I haven't remodded. Guys, come on.
Can I ask one question while we're on stream, just because out of my curiosity? So obviously, for those of you who don't know, I typically like to run Bad Batch versus in the cam missions. But I am curious, is the burning as much of an issue for Shock T as it is the Bad Batch? From Django?
It's difficult because... MD, do you want to answer this, or do you want me to go ahead and... It's up to you, I don't mind answering this.
I'm of the camp. I actually think Bad Batch is superior in the cam mission. Just because you get the foresight and the true damage does a lot, and I think the margin for error is a lot smaller just because there's so many different ways that Shock T clones can go wrong with cam, whereas with Bad Batch I feel like it's not quite as RNG dependent. Like it's fairly especially once you get Omega to relic 5 or to whatever relic you need to do the thing. I've seen that it's less. From what I've seen from the losses in the cam mission with Bad Batch, it's more user error, whereas there's less RNG error. So I'm a big, and especially with the translation and all that with tech, you can spam specials more. So I'm a bigger fan of Bad Batch for the cam mission rather than Shock T, but that's just me.
So going back to the question about burning. It's difficult. Right, so Rex applies Tenacity up on his middle special, and that also cleanses. Shack T also cleanses on her middle special. However, and bearing in mind, I think, what was it, last month? I think I did, or was it the month before? I did like 30 streams. And in one of them, someone had 4 burns in a row. 4 burns in a row. Even if you cleanse them, you run out of cleanses. Like, it becomes, like, at that point, you just have to think, what is going on? Alright, so, I've now got my mods moved here. I will show you guys the mods real quick. We can actually show you them through our CPIT tab. Just because you guys might be interested, we haven't even got Shack T clones as a CPIT team. That's incredible, isn't it? Let me just move them in here real quick. So we've got, she's going to be right at the top, isn't she? Oh, she's already in another team, so we've got to change that. Alright, let's take off that, go to create new, go to Galactic Republic, and then we're going to go to 501st. Also, if there's anyone in the chat who has any questions about Cam, go ahead and ask them now. We have quite a few people who can answer those questions with us right now. Right, so this is my clones here. My Shack T is modded like so, all health mods. You can mod her with a crit avoidance arrow. I don't. As you can see, I have 117k health, that's normally okay. Protection doesn't matter, speed does. In fact, this is a bit slow for Shack T. You can go as high as 340, 350 if you have the mods. So that's my Shack T. My Rex is 310 here. I may actually switch something around. I need him to be a tiny bit faster. But I don't know if any of these can be swapped, unfortunately. We'll have a look at that in a second. With Rex, you don't need to worry about... he needs about 65k health. 60-65k. Anything higher than that and you're kind of in the danger zone. My Echo here, plus 100 speed. We're looking at 8,700 damage. 13,000 special, which is extremely high. Like, that's nice. And then Arc Trooper, who we're actually going to switch a mod here. He's faster than Rex. So this is what Hot Utils has done. This is not very good. You don't want Arc Trooper going before Rex. Arctic pointed this out, burning. If they burn first turn, and you don't cleanse first turn, you're just taking that passive tick damage from the burn. So you kind of want Rex to go first. But yeah, we can switch that over. In fact, that is not going to be too hard. We can come here. We can go to a offense arrow. Sorry, I always do that. Put it on the secondary instead of the primary. And then, honestly, it doesn't even matter. We'll just use that. It's still going to take our offense up. It doesn't really matter about the quality of that mod. And then in the last slot we have 5s, who's sitting at 116k health. Right, this is what we'll be running. And God, I really hope it goes well. So, Arctic normally runs Bad Batch. MDA is going to be running the 501st for the first time this month. So if either of you want to chime in, like, again, both of you can ask questions as well. Like, I want to kind of use this as an opportunity to kind of
for me, this is like a whole other world, like watching 501st. I mean, just because I've gotten so accustomed to Bad Batch at this point, and really just playing off those cleanses that I still like Shock T clones. Nothing against them. It's just, this is like, oh my gosh, when was the last time I've seen this?
Alright, let's jump in. So, I'll try my best to explain in really good detail what we're doing here. So, we go into the mission like so. Now, traditionally, he's always going to do the AoE. Now, sometimes he doesn't do that. It's a little bit different. So, the first mistake I see so many people make, there's debuffs, we must cleanse them. Please don't click this, guys. That's a mistake, don't do that. What you want to do is target one of these two B2s. I normally go for the bottom one. There's no difference. That's the secret to cam. People will make, like, if you ever get like coached by someone, they will make it seem like this way or no way. Like, I've coached someone and I go bottom B2 and they go top, and I'm like, no, it doesn't actually matter. We just kind of, it's just we'll just basic and take out the first B2 there. Now you come to this. Now there is an argument to be made. So I typically will pass the turret to Echo. Echo's this one. I always do this lineup because then I know it's Echo, Arc, Shakti, Rex, 5s. It's just how I remember what it is. Now, traditionally, I will put this on Echo, right? However, there is an argument to be made. I've done it here anyways, that's fine. That you can put it on Rex in the early game because he's going to be taking more turns and you want to clear the B2s. But that doesn't really matter too much. So, next up we have Shakti's turn. Now this ability here is called Stand Your Ground, and what it does is it dispels all stacks of trampled on target ally, and only the leader can use this, guys. So the most important thing is Shakti must stay alive. Stand Your Ground will refresh and get rid of all of these. For each stack of trampled, you're losing 50% max protection and 10% defense stacking up to 5 times. So that's why modding for defense and modding for protection is a bad idea. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use this on Shakti. Now the other thing with trampled, is you can't gain bonus turn meter and you can't attack out of turn. So now we've actually fixed that. Shakti is now in a position to attack out of turn. We'll then come up here and we're going to throw the grenade. Now the grenade will hit everyone and it's going to hit the B2 a second time because of the turret. Now note, all these characters are GOTB heroes or whatever you call them, so they can attack multiple times, but they will not do it when they have trampled. If you remember what I just said there, Shakti is now in a prime position to take out this B2. I've done a stream before, and the person who I was streaming got a little bit nervous. They were like, oh, why are you trying to make me taunt with 5s? Guys, it doesn't matter. The Django and the Reek ignore taunt, and these guys will be dead in no time, and there's buff immunity, and the game's lagging. That's scary.
Just to add in here, there actually is an argument that you do actually want to taunt with 5s when you can, because Echo gains bonus offense when 5s is taunting. But it's one of those things that it doesn't really matter that much, because most of the time you're gonna have buff immunity on you, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
No, you make a really good point. You really do. And also, that comes into play if you get a different lineup in the opening and you don't get trampled, you can use this ability on 5s. It will give him critical avoidance and it will call everyone to assist, but we're not going to use that any other time. So 1B2 is now down. We're on to the second. So I like to basic here. Everyone's on pretty good health, even 5s, so we're just going to basic. We're going to get that offense up. Shakti will attack twice, which is really nice. They're going to go for Rex, and hopefully there's the burn. Okay, and that worked out perfectly, so we're going to cleanse the burn. That is the biggest rule of this mission. You cleanse the burn as soon as possible. So, I always like to check the cooldowns. We are fine. We can use Stand Your Ground on someone. However, you don't actually want to do that, guys. Because if you have equal or more stacks, of Stand Your Ground. Give me 1 second. Apparently, my webcam was not in the middle. Don't know. It's bugging out. I apologize about that. But back to the cam. You can't attack. So, for example, Shakti can't attack Django. Rex can. These two cannot. So if I went and cleansed Rex now, we're not going to be damaging Django, and that's a big mistake. So, what I like to do here, we don't really need to do anything. So what we're going to do is we're just going to basic. There's no reason to do anything else here. And then Arc can finish them off. That's now the B2's done. What? This is really worrying me. Why is my game lagging so much? If it crashes, I'm telling you now, that's going to suck. I think we pressed that button. Oh god. That's...
Alright, seems like it's easing off.
Yay, blue stacks.
Guys, this is the real problem going on right now. Anyways,
You
we're
just
gonna come
thought
over
you were
here,
going against the Reek, you're really going against Blue Stacks.
as it always is. Alright, we're gonna come over here and we're gonna basic on Django with Rex. You don't want to be basicing with anyone other than these two on the Reek because he's gaining stacking offense and speed. We're gonna come back over here. This actually does more damage, so we're gonna do this and call Echo. Echo 1 assist, that's absolutely fine. Now, what we want to do here is we want to target the Reek again. We're going to throw the grenade. We're going to come over here. We're going to basic. Django helping us out. Now,
Nice.
we are going to go first if we do not hit the Reek. And I want to heal up Rex, so we're just going to basic. And then we're going to heal up on Rex, like so. That's actually quite nice. Like I said before, now we can actually attack Django. We are not going to use this yet. There is an argument to be made that you can, but we're just going to play it safe and not do that. We are going to come over here and we're going to pass this to Echo, however. Like so. That expose is lovely. In fact... Oh, no, we're just going to go here. We're just going to use it here. And then, like you can see, we come over here. That should be Django down for the first time. Right, we are going to go next. So I'm just going to come over here and basic. And then we're going to come over here and we are going to cleanse. This one here is a cleanse and also gives speed up. Although there is an argument that we're going to get trampled next turn anyway. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to target Django and we are going to cleanse on Shakti. Right. Guys, why is BlueStacks doing this? Seriously. If I lose this mission because BlueStacks decides to like have a seizure, I do apologize. My god. This is scary. This is scary, guys.
Mm.
Oh no, BlueStacks, what are you doing? Okay, we're just gonna give it a second and hopefully. Are you gonna? Have you crashed? Please no. No, oh, it's changing who I'm
We're doing it live.
He's trying.
It's taking. We're just gonna kind of sit back and relax and chill because it's slowly moving, guys. It's slowly moving. God, it's only whenever you do cam. Everything will go wrong whenever you do cam. I don't really want to click anything on the off chance that it crashes the game. But I think we're just gonna let it catch up. If we do the attack, it will kind of catch up and be fine. Should we just click it and we've clicked it. Let's just see if it works. Also, Rodeo Clown in the chat said Newt is a 3v3 god. I would agree. I'm sure the others here would as well. We can talk about that because the game's taking a while to load right now.
Yeah, Newt can work, like you said. Newt's that Separatist bailout team. The Separatists are like a bailout squad, right? They give you so many teams, and
absolutely.
I don't think you can put Newt in a bad lineup. But I'll let one of you guys comment on this. But do you think Newt? I would rather have him as a lead in 3v3, opposed to a support.
Yeah, I like him in 3v3 as the lead better.
I don't know if it crashed. I think it's frozen. Oh no. Guys, don't worry, we're gonna be here. Oh, it moved a little bit.
It's moving.
Guys, does anyone else, just let me know in the chat, does anyone else have issues with BlueStacks like this?
This reminds me of BlueStacks when I was trying to use it earlier in my cam mission.
I have not had issues with BlueStacks in weeks since I changed all the settings and I decided to stream the most important territory battle mission there is, and it decides to do this. Oh man. Well, Kanji Club in the chat, Newt B1 Django and Rex 5's Zeta Barris is what they'll use. Do you know what? Those are two good teams. I'll be honest, those are crazy good teams.
What's your favorite 3v3 team, Glenn?
Did you really just ask me that? Come on.
Well, I mean, I know you got your Barris, but I'm talking about like when you're on offense.
Oh,
I want to know what's your offensive get out of jail free card, no GL. Like,
ooh.
I need a team to get me out now.
That is a good question. That is a really good question. See, I'll tell you one that is quite good. OG Finn as the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's Hero Finn, Hero Poe. That's a nice team on offense.
I've seen people run that, and that is a nice team.
Yeah, that's a nice. But I don't know if I would say that's my get out of jail free card. Alright, give me a minute to think about that. I wonder if I'll come up with the get out of free jail team.
I got a couple spicy teams here.
Yeah, go for it. Go ahead.
Jedi Knight Luke, Hermit Yoda. That's taking out like next to everything. A fun one. Darth Vader lead, Mission in Zalbar.
Say what?
Is just because you have the infinite dots, and that's going to be constantly healing up Mission in Zalbar, and then you have the armor shred and Mission just going nuts.
It's interesting.
I'm a fan of that team.
Guys, we're doing the attack because all the buttons just disappeared. Do you know what would really suck right now? Sorry to interrupt you, MDA. Could you imagine that we waited all this time and then the Reek's gonna AoE and kill the entire team? I can't.
That would be our luck.
It would. We'll just wait here. I'm sure no one's got anything to do. I mean, what day of the week is it? Monday? Come on, guys. What do people do on Monday evenings other than watching my streams or watching?
Most of the Mondays are real right now.
Yeah. Anyways,
I like that idea with Vader though. Man.
Yeah, that is nice.
I don't know if you put that on defense or maybe you do. I don't know. It's just one of those things. That's a team that you just think outside the box a little bit.
I feel like you would need a decent Zalbar if you're going to use it on defense.
Yeah, but if you had a decent Zalbar, you could watch somebody burn Thrawn, who is essential for so many counters in 3v3.
Yeah, that's true.
How many AoEs and ignore taunts are there? I mean, and even if there are, you have that many more teams. So,
yeah.
I like that team.
There's not as many as you think. Like, it's one of those, it's like, when you're on a team, you're like, okay, yeah, this is great, I'm ignoring taunt. But then when it comes down to, like, 3v3, after you burn your obvious teams that do it, not a lot of teams ignore taunt like that. And if you get stuck behind, like, like, a Wrecker, a Ninth Sister, a K2SO, or, like, Watt throws the tank tech on someone. Actually, a team that I used on offense, I don't think it's going to work in Kyber anymore, but I did it in, like, lower, like way before when they had the early, like the old GAC system. I used to run Newts, Sunfac, and Watt. And running Newt lead. And because Watt can do damage because of Newt Zeta, I could do damage with that, and then you can revive, and then extortion would spread. And like I was able to cheese my way out of some teams with that. I don't think that's gonna work anymore, but like that's an okay defensive team. I don't know if it's worth burning Watt like that, but hey, that's interesting. I've seen Newt ran with Stormtrooper Han, for instance, and been very upset at how effective that is at keeping a taunt. And I'm just like, I don't understand this. And I think if you're not in that top tier Kyber, I would be very careful. Like if you don't have Watt, I would be really scared to see Storm. Even with Watt, man, that would be horrifying because Watt's going to give the tank tech and Han is going to recover like he's blitzed out of his mind, while Newt just extortions your team out to pay taxes for it. I'm excited for this season because I have Akbar and Leia Omicron. I don't think I'm going to have Stormtrooper Han Zeta in time. I think I can get him Gear 13, but I think I'm going to be a Zeta. I think I'm going to be one Zeta short before the sign up. But my team I'm going to run is Akbar, Leia, Stormtrooper Han. The turn meter gains in that team is going to be just out of this world. I've I've got an R3 Akbar, R3 Leia with the Omicron, and then Stormtrooper Han. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it on offense or I'm gonna put it on defense, but it's gonna be one of my get out of jail free teams.
The
I
game.
saw somebody. Oh, what's going on with the game? Let's see.
No, I was just saying the game's slowly moving, like every couple minutes. Oh, I'm gonna keep it open. I refuse to give up a shard, but yeah, carry on. Arctic, sorry for interrupting you.
Oh, I was just gonna say I saw somebody earlier comment R2D2 and in that team.
R2's
I guess it was off of like Heinz's video probably, but I was like, that's not bad. That team in 3v3, it's like we said earlier, a 5v5 team that probably doesn't carry that much weight in 3v3 is just going to become all of a sudden a menace. But I think with that Stormtrooper Han, I think you're better off because again, you have to get around the taunt, and the turn meter gain is going to be that much faster. The taunt's going to be a problem. Leia's going to be under stealth the entire time almost. I don't even really know a good counter to that I could spare. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I almost have to burn a team that I shouldn't have to against that.
So, we've got another comment in the chat. How are each of you planning to use Han and Chewie?
Ooh.
I'll let one of you go first.
I'll let MDA start that one.
I think I'm not going to use him with CLS. I think CLS is going to chill on his own team. I think I'm going to run Han and Chewie with either Wedge, with Lando. If I ever need like a speed advantage, you throw him with Lando. Another one as a way to counter gas is you use Beskar, Mando, Han, and Chewie, and that will counter any gas lineup that's out there. Because gas is, even though he's not as good as he is in 5v5, he's still a menace on defense, and that team will do it. So, other than that, because I don't have whatchamacallit, I don't have the Outrider dude.
Oh, you talking Dash?
Dash.
Yeah, I don't have Dash up and running, and I don't have Ray, so I'll probably save him for offense, and I'll do like Wedge with that.
So mine are actually a little bit under geared, so I was actually thinking about running it with that Dash to see if I could punch up. Just like I said, I'm hoping that guard mechanic keeps Dash alive.
Yeah. That's an interesting idea right there. I'm probably just gonna be one of those guys that uses Han and Chewie of Ray. It's too good a team not to do, so that's what I'll be doing. If I ever make it to GAC at this point, I mean, we've been sitting here for how long? Guys, don't do your important missions on BlueStacks because this is what happens. It's just that little bit of like temptation will move like 2 frames. It's in the middle of doing the attack with Echo at the moment. And once it does the attack, I think it will catch up. So we'll just chill here, keep the questions coming in the chat because we're going to be here for a while. Oh, man. This is...
So what is an Omicron that you don't think... now, granted, obviously, we could all say Rose Tico. What's an Omicron that you think is not going to see any benefit, really, in GAC 3v3? Like, is there any that you guys have seen that you're like... obviously, we're going to throw Rose to the side, even though some people think Rose could be good, like, especially with Ray, who I'm just like, Ray is Ray. But what do you think?
I'm going to be honest. Now, when you say Omicron, this might come across a little bit weird. Oh, look, Echo's just fired his blaster. Fantastic. Right, so...
Nice.
I would say... what's her name? Oh, God, my brain has gone blank. No. Iden. There we go. Iden,
Gotcha.
I think the Omicron won't have any use. Because the Omicron, if I'm correct, is whenever you're attacked out of turn, you regain protection, right?
Let me double check myself, but doesn't Iden's Omicron guarantee that she gets the 100% turn meter at the start?
No.
That's Zeta. I mean, so I'm looking at her.
That's
Omicron
not even a Zeta.
Right now.
That's not even a Zeta. That's just Kit.
At the start of the battle, if no other allies have the leader tag, Imperial Trooper allies gain 35% max health and protection. and whenever an enemy attacks out of turn, Imperial Trooper allies recover 20% health, protection, and gain 10% turn meter. I think it's still going to be good, but it's not going to be as good as it was in 5v5 just because there's less attacks and all that, less troopers on your team. The one that jumps to me, so I think Zam's the obvious. I mentioned that earlier. It's just not going to be as good. Chirpa, I don't think that one's going to be as good, just because you're not able to TM train as easily, and it just, I don't see it being any better than what the Zeta does already. I mean, the Omicron will definitely be an improvement, but I think that is, it's not really going to do much.
I could understand that. I'm actually rechecking, out of all curiosity, I'm rechecking Darth Talon of all people, because I'm curious if there's even any chance that this is viable. Like, because a lot of people have had trouble figuring out where to put Talon, and I'm just kind of trying to read over it. I asked the question, and then I thought about it. I was like, is this even viable in 3v3? Like,
I mean, is Talon's right? If I'm correct, is the Omicron is related to?
It's the stuff with Scion and and Treo.
So, because it bases off isolate and pain mostly.
So if it's just those, that means you could save Nihilus.
You could save Nihilus. And
Nihilus could easily go into a Palpatine team. Like, I'm just thinking, what about, like, Palpatine lead, Mara Jade, Nihilus as one team? And then you could do Traya, Scion, and Talon in the other. Possibly. But then do you want to break up what is already one of the best 3v3 teams, which is the Triumvirate? It's tough.
It's tough.
The Blaster Bolt is getting so close to hitting the reach now. Come on.
We're gonna be still making this video in like 2 hours. Like, we hit the rig again. We did it.
You won't believe what happened after 2 hours, and it's just me pointing at the Blaster Bolt for the thumbnail. That'd be fantastic.
Are you guys disappointed with Talon?
I unfortunately have to hop off.
No,
so
that's fine. That's fine.
Hopefully, your Reek mission is not in vain. You're able to go and bring glory to the guilds with Cam Shard. But
I hope so.
Unfortunately, I must part here. So I appreciate you for having me on. I always love talking Galaxy of Heroes with you guys. So.
No, thank you for coming on. I'm sure everyone in the chat has appreciated your wisdom. I can tell you now, some of those teams you've talked about today have got me thinking. So I've got to thank you.
I have already been reworking my 3v3 teams, and now that you've got me thinking, like, oh man, I've got to redo a few things.
But no, thank you for coming along, and we'll have to work out when we do the next talk show.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, guys. May the force be with you.
See you later.
So
this shot is landed.
Clement,
yep.
You want me to? What I could do, if Discord might be lagging you, if you want to try this, I could just follow you on stream.
No, I don't think it's Discord at all. I think it's just the game.
Okay.
I mean, we can. Let me try that. Let me try disconnecting from Discord. You can jump in a stream, and then what I'll do is after I finish the mission, I'll probably wrap the stream up. So we can try that. Let me try and.
Well, I will say while I'm live, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you very much, and we'll hopefully see if we can't finish this cam mission out before people have to do things back on Monday.
Hopefully. All right. Thank you for coming on. I've really appreciated all the wisdom you brought as well. You and MDA have been great, great co-hosts for today. That's for sure.
Well, thank you. I look forward to it. Hopefully, one day in the future we can do it again.
Awesome. All right. See ya. Let's just quit Discord. See if that fixes it. Oh man, sorry about that, guys. Apparently, the game decided to just lag terribly right now. We were probably gonna wrap it up after the battle anyway, so it's just disappointing because, like I said earlier, this mission is crucial for guilds to do well in. And currently, I mean, there's no point jinxing myself now because it's already frozen. But at the moment, I think I'm on like an 8 or 9 win streak for the mission. Yeah, come on, BlueStacks. I'm cheering for BlueStacks. We'll give it another 5 minutes. If it doesn't load, I'm just gonna back it out and call it a day. Hopefully it doesn't, because I was trying to show you guys how to beat the mission reliably. Because it's not too difficult if you know what you're doing. But unfortunately, it has decided to freeze on us. Also, let me know in the comments, what did you enjoy about today? Which topic that we discussed did you think was the best? Did it change your ideas for what you want to do for 3v3? Because remember, 3v3 sign-up started an hour ago, so you got until tomorrow. And, you know, you have an hour. If you want to go apply a Zeta, go on and do it. You know, if you have that Omicron line around, and you've heard us talk about Krennic being possibly really good, go ahead and apply it. Let me know. Put it in the comments. Like I said, I'm really hyped for 3v3. I really enjoy it. I just like the fact that it's a little bit different. Don't get me wrong, I think the game is made for 5v5. But I definitely do enjoy 3v3. Also, it's nice to see that we actually got the crit, so the mods are working, guys. Damn, BlueStacks. Also, I see there's a few people have joined the stream, so welcome everyone. Unfortunately, you've joined at the point where BlueStacks has decided to crash mid-cam mission, so we're just talking about 3v3 still. Yeah, don't forget you can resave your roster so you can sign in anytime. Definitely worth doing. No longer do you have to miss GAC because you wanted to do a last minute mod. No longer is that an issue. Right. This is irritating. Also, the Reek has got a really angry face. He is not happy right now. And Django's just over there just chilling. Doesn't give a damn about the world right now. He knows that mission successful, the game's crashed. Also, as it is GOTV today, and it is the cam mission, obviously we can see how my one's going with the game deciding to crash. How are all of your missions going? I know Arctic came, well, I guess you could say close with their bad batch run. They had a bit of bad RNG at the beginning. Kanji Club, who's also in the chat, I walked them through it earlier, they got a win. Just let me know what else, like you guys, what did you get in the cam mission, or even are you even doing it today? Because I don't think we're going to be finishing this one today. I don't think the game wants it. What a shame. Oh, look at that, 17,500 damage. If it does unfreeze, we are going to speedrun this and hopefully it won't crash. I don't know. I think unless echoes just hit for so much damage that the game just can't handle it, I don't know what's happened here. Let me try and do this right now, see if that fixes it right now. We just need something to get the game running again right now. Man, this is I think we've been going for about half an hour on this mission, so I thank everyone who's stuck around to see us hit the unbelievable mad damage that is 17,563. I bet you're all so grateful, that also happy you didn't leave and miss that. Oh man. Right. As I said, I'll give it a few more minutes and see if it fixes. If it doesn't, then there isn't a lot we can do today. In terms of stuff to watch out for this week, we will have the next free-to-play episode go live Wednesday. I'm currently editing that right now. Another big week in the free-to-play account world. Also, if any of you were interested, because I know that stream, you guys enjoyed it last week, let me know if you would like that to be another weekly stream. Potentially I can maybe do another one this week, maybe Friday or something. Thursday we'll be doing some Grand Arena, we're going to be doing our 3v3, testing out the Tuscan Omicron and testing out the Kranich Omicron. So that's something we've got to look forward to on Wednesday. And then on tomorrow, so what day is it tomorrow? Tuesday. At the moment, I don't have anything planned. I do have some videos to upload, but I can't tell you what it's going to be yet. So just keep an eye out for that. Also, let me just pop this open right now. If you guys, well, we don't have Discord open, so if Kanji Club is still in the chat, I would request that you kindly put the link to the Discord server in the chat for me. We do have a Discord server, so go ahead and join that if you haven't already. It's the quickest and easiest way to find out when we go live, when we upload videos, and to have an input on what the channel produces. Because I'm completely open to doing new content all the time. Basically, if you guys want something, I'll create it. I am still working on the territory battle guide for either Galactic Republic or Lightside. Galactic Republic or Jedi. I am working on them both simultaneously. It just takes a while to come up with what really is the best, especially on factions which are more limited. I just don't really want to put out a video where it's, include every possible team, because then what's the point of saying it's the best? It's just every possible team. So those are kind of things that we're working on for the channel. We'll probably be posting more conquest related content, because I want everyone to unlock Malgus day one, because when characters are that good, I think everyone should have an ability to play with them. So that's something that, if my content helps you guys get there, then that would be awesome. But there are plenty of other content creators out there who also do good content for Conquest. This is really not finishing, is it? This is going to be a crash, unfortunately. I wonder what's caused it. Because I'm looking at my diagnostics on my PC right now. Everything's running fine. We're not using too much CPU, GPU, any of that, which is really disappointing. So it happens. This is one of the problems with emulators, such as BlueStacks. Sometimes they crash, and you can't really do a lot about that. Arctic in the chat. Malgus might be GL level in GC. Question is on the required. Right, so yes, I would say yes to start with. I think he's going to be very good regardless. Oh, we just made some progress there. The damage has disappeared. Come on, Echo, take your turn. We're still waiting patiently for the time that we can finish this mission. Right, so Malgus might be GL on GC and is the only required. So I think the lead and the unique are going to be required. Mainly the lead. Obviously this is all speculation. This may change when he gets released, which will be tested, because when he gets released, I know myself and probably many other people throughout YouTube, Twitch, you name it, even just people on Reddit, will be testing them out whenever he gets unlocked, and that will be mainly in Squad Arena. So I think he's going to have use in these other game modes, or just in general. I think he's going to be a good character. However, if you want him to be a GL killer, I think you're going to need the Omicron. The comparison I'll give is Sign of Django. Now, when he got released, he was branded as well as this GL sort of character. However, his kit is good. Don't get me wrong, his kit is very good, but it is an overwhelming... There's an overwhelming census among people that when it comes to just general play with him, he isn't as good as the other Conquest characters, because obviously he's designed to work in a certain mode, that mode being Territory War. Now, funny story, if you look at Malgus's kit, they have very similar Omicrons in a sense of the mastery boost, the damage reduction boost is very similar. So I don't think Malgus is going to be like a GL level at all in Territory War. I may be wrong. Hopefully I am. But I do think in GAC, definitely. And we've only got like 2 months to wait for that. So that will be fun. Also, for anyone who's just joined, we are trying to beat the cow mission, but BlueStacks is standing in the way. We've been frozen here for 20 minutes, so we're just talking about Omicrons and the fun of 3v3. But yeah, I think Omicrons will be required. I don't think you can need one on every ability. So far, out of all the characters to be released that have multiple Omicrons, like Starkiller, Boba Fett, Sign of Django, I think that may be everyone, and eventually Malgus, the lead or the unique are normally needed. The ability ones tend to be optional. For example, Starkiller, you do not need, you only need the unique, you don't actually need the other 2, although they do help if you can do them. But with the current state of Omicrons, can you really afford to do 3 Omicrons for 1 character when you could do, say, Tuskens, Krennic, Qui-Gon as your 3 Omicrons, for example, and that would possibly give you 3 top teams. So you need to kind of weigh up whether it's worth going for 3 good teams or 1 amazing team. And then there's the level where you're saying, oh, but you know what, Malgus is already amazing, we just make him a little bit better. So that's kind of something that testing will let us know for sure. Nest is a pretty good Swiss Army knife, absolutely. Nest to this day is one of the best plug and play characters in the game. Mine is only Relic 3. I need to take mine to Relic 8 desperately. So I tend to use my Nest on defense. I have found that they work in a Maul team, Darth Maul, not Mandalorian Maul, because of the stealth just forces them to target Nest, which is a really good habit to get into. They're very good at dash team. On offense, you know, you can solo Padme teams at high relics. You can solo lots of other teams, Ewoks, but then again, are Ewoks that big a problem these days? That's up to you guys to decide. Just depends on where you're at. Let's be honest, if you're in like Bronzium right now, and you go up against a good set of Ewoks of the Omicron, well, maybe that's a bit tough, so maybe Nest gets used there. Nest is a fantastic character to invest in, and she kind of doesn't change much between 3v3, I'll be honest. 3v3, 5v5, Nest is still going to be extremely useful. Right, so the timer on my stream right now is 1 hour 31. We're going to give it to 1 hour 35, and if the game has not resumed by then, we'll end the stream, because unfortunately I want to show you guys cam, but also I don't want to be sitting here until tomorrow morning because I've got stuff to do. So aka I've got to go to sleep and wake up, and maybe the game could still be, you know, going on by then, which is kind of frustrating, but all streaks must come to an end. So that is annoying, but yeah, going back to Nest, great character to invest in. She really is. Right, I'm curious. Oh, now the Reek's attacking us because he's just moved. Come on, Reek, do your thing. I mean, we can't even. I'm curious. What if we go into like? Is there anything we can do here to fix this? I don't think there is. I mean, BlueStacks hasn't crashed. As you can see here, guys, BlueStacks has not crashed because I can move it. And I've just revealed that I am a Sith Lord. Pretty sure I've already revealed that before, but we don't tell everyone about that. Shout out to one of my guild mates who made that for me. And when they made it, they didn't even take time to edit out the bottom. They just replaced my name over the top. I love it. I love it. If we're doing speculation, I wonder, Grand Inquisitor, can he make 2 solid Inquisitor teams? Oh. Are you talking about for 3v3? Because if you are, that's a good idea to come to talk about that. Definitely. Man, I don't even know where to begin with that. Because I think Fifth Brother has a very good lead. And depending on Grand Inquisitor, you could then do Grand Inquisitor and Fifth Brother. Now, I would argue Fifth Brother's lead is more of a defensive team. Globet Sith Lord, are you certain? Oh, I don't know. I might be. I might be a Sith Lord. That, maybe that's why this is freezing up right now. But the Reek is getting closer. See, this is really painful for me. Because I know the moment I go to close everything down, like the moment I close down the stream, the cam mission is going to start working again. I can just feel it right now. But yeah, Grand Inquisitor, man, there's so much that can be done with them. There really is. I mean, we've got... I think Ninth Sister needs to be... I think Fifth Brother and Ninth Sister, possibly Seventh Sister would be a nice team. You know, you have the defense, you have the health, and you have all the other bonuses coming there from the Fifth Brother lead. You then have Seventh Sister, who would be going there as well. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, good night. Alright. Oh, sorry about that, guys. You should be able to hear me again now. I was just saying goodnight to some family members there. They are going off to bed, so I figured I would just change the screen there. Anyways, like I was saying, Fifth Brother lead, I think, is the best one for defense. I do think Seventh Sister will be good in there, and Ninth Sister. Problem is we don't know Grand Inquisitor's kit. So at this moment, speculation means literally nothing. Like, I can sit here and go, yeah guys, Grand Inquisitor is going to be amazing in 3v3, but what does that tell you? We don't know what he's even like. So, yeah, that's kind of something that we don't know. Good question, but we just don't know. Let me know in the chat, do you want me to stay on for another 20 minutes and see if this loads, or do you think we should call it? I'll let you guys decide. If you guys just want to sit here and listen to me talk about speculation and all that, then go ahead, but this is extremely infuriating. And let me just make sure this all works. Alright, I think I can actually get the where is it at? I'm trying to get a link to... There we go. So, I have actually managed to get a link without actually opening Discord, so that link there should take you to my server. It does, I've just tested it. So, if you guys want to join my Discord, where you'll get the notifications when I go live, notifications when I make a video, and you can also have an input on what content we produce, go ahead and join the Discord. Also, if you do enjoy the content here, do like and subscribe, because if you're subscribed you'll at least get notifications. I mean, who doesn't want to receive notifications to watch a game crash? Like, come on guys. I'm sorry, this is quality content right now. But yeah, also we've had a few people on the talk shows now. We've had Rock from the first one, we've had Shark from the second, and today we had Arctic. So let me know, do you want any of those guys to come back? I mean, they're all going to come back at some point, but we can try and do like a focused videos with different people there. We're gonna give it a couple more minutes and I'm just gonna call it quits. This is, oh, as I say that it moves, I told you guys, it's toying with me. Every time I go to leave or go to say, you know what, we'll finish it here, the Reek moves a tiny little bit. maybe it'll fix. We don't give up on the cam shots here. Alright, give me one moment. I'm just checking the Discord, making sure that I'm not the only one who has crashed today. I think I might be. Gonna be honest. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming along to this stream. I'm gonna. It's alright if I call you Rodeo, or do you want me to call you Rodeo Clown? I mean, I don't mind either way. But thank you for coming on to the stream. I really appreciate it, and I enjoy it when there's people in the chat who are quite talkative. It's really good. I mean, I personally, I just love this game. I love talking about this game. So if there are people out there who want to listen to me talk about this game, then that's a win-win, really, isn't it? God. We love BlueStacks right now. I mean, I really don't know what it is, because all my as I said, all my diagnostics are running pretty good on my PC. So the 3v3 team setup was most useful. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Yeah, I'm really glad you enjoyed that. 3v3 is a bit difficult to plan for. What I would say is the most important thing is make sure to look at your opponent in detail. You want to have a look at, what do they normally set. It's a bit difficult for 3v3 because we don't have the information, but you just want to go through all the different stages and all the different points we talked about. It might mean you have to take a few minutes later on before lock-in finishes and kind of say, are you happy with these Zetas? Do you need more? Omicron wise, you might have been hoarding them. They might boost your roster, but I'm really glad that you found that helpful and useful, because that is the whole point of these talk shows, is to try and help people out and just discuss topics based on the game. Right, we've been going for ages. We've been on this now for 40 minutes. I don't think this is going to load, so we're just going to take this as a loss. So with that, I'm going to finish the stream here. Big thank you to everyone who came along. Massive thank you to the Optimist and to Arctic Gears for helping me out with the talk show today. I really appreciate all the support you guys have given me today. We will probably be back Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how that goes. Thank you guys. I said thank you so many times, but I do mean it. I am really grateful. Again, if you want to join the Discord and chill out with us there, then go ahead and join. But there we go. I'm gonna see you guys later, and have a good day or evening. See you later.